another one with the Devolution Party of Kenya, one with the Democratic Party of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, the Communist Party of Kenya and Kenya Kwanza Alliance founding parties, Chama cha Kazi, Honorable Speaker, the Democratic Party of Kenya, Honorable Speaker. I will also table one from the National Agenda Party of Kenya, the Grand Dream Development Party, led by our friend and colleague, the Honorable Fabian Muli, and the coalition, post-election coalition agreement between GDDP, post-election, Honorable Speaker, between GDDP and Kenya Kwanza, a post-election coalition agreement between the United Democratic Movement UDM, and Kenya Kwanza, a post-election coalition agreement between MDG, the Movement for Democracy and Growth, led by our brother and colleague, the Honorable David Ochieng. Honorable Speaker, all these coalitions are to bear witness, Honorable Speaker, that indeed Kenya Kwanza is a coalition of political parties as per the definition of the Act, Honorable Speaker. The second definition, Honorable Speaker, is one of a coalition political party. And the Act tells us that this means a coalition registered by the registrar as a political party. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would beg, Honorable Speaker, and I want to challenge my colleague, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, and the Honorable Opio Andai, who you called my protagonist, but is actually my very good friend, Honorable Speaker. They are here contending to be leading the majority. Honorable Speaker, the question of determining a majority is very easy because it's just a question of calculating the numbers of parliamentary political parties. And the definition of a parliamentary political party is in this standing order number 20. Honorable Speaker, we must then ask ourselves the question, is the Azimio One Kenya Alliance Coalition political party a party? Is it a parliamentary political party? And the straight answer, Honorable Speaker, is that Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party does not exist as a parliamentary political party. Honorable Speaker, but that does not mean that the constituent parties that came together to form Azimio One Kenya Alliance political party are not parties in their own right. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, with all due respect to the other parties, and indeed, Honorable Speaker, you have also in your communication alluded to the fact that Jubilee Party, my former party, has also written to you communicating their leadership in this House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what does that tell you? That Jubilee Party appreciates that Azimio One Kenya Coalition political party does not exist in this House, either as a parliamentary political party or as a coalition of political parties, as per the definition in Article 108 and Standing Order number 19, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that then would mean that ODM, and I want to believe besides KANU, ODM is the oldest political party in this country, with slightly above 80 members of parliament, is then the second largest political party after the Kenya Kwanza coalition of political parties, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, and I don't say this to belittle all the other partners in Azimio One Kenya Alliance, Honorable Speaker, but that is what we created in the mess that was the political parties amendment bill that was debated in this House, Honorable Speaker, over the Christmas recess in December of 2021 and completed in January of this year, Honorable Speaker. I remember, Honorable Speaker, standing in my place somewhere behind here, reminding our colleagues that this law that you have just passed will punish you more than it will ever punish me or those of us that were then called the Tangatanga or UDA Brigade, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, chickens have come home to roost. Nobody is being punished, but we are paying for that acrimonious debate and a law that was procured in this assembly in a manner that we should never, ever engage in procuring or in legislating. We are a house that legislates through consultation. We never consulted each other as we passed that law, Honorable Speaker. And it is sad And I pray, Honorable Speaker, that this 13th Assembly will not take the route and will never take the route that the 12th Assembly took. We must be a house that consults. I am glad, Honorable Speaker, that we sit here with my brother, Honorable Pio Andai, and my brother, Honorable Jonette, as colleagues in one house, listening to each other and debating, because this is a house of debate, Honorable Speaker. And we must gain the respect and the dignity that we are accorded by the Kenyan people who have elected us by coming to this house, listening to each other and debating. Honorable Speaker, I want to submit, Honorable Speaker, that besides the agreements, Honorable Speaker, that we are tabling, when I say that Azimio One Kenya Alliance, One Kenya Coalition Party is not a parliamentary political party, it is because the definition as contained in our standing orders stipulates that you must have at least 5% of the members of the National Assembly to be a parliamentary political party. Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party has not a single member of parliament. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, in a case that was filed by Dhuranira and 4 others versus the Attorney General and 2 others, including the Registrar of Political Parties and 3 others as interested parties, Honorable Speaker, the High Court allowed the constituent parties in Azimio One Kenya to field individual party candidates, and that is what they did. That is why we have 26 parties represented in this house, including ODM, Jubilee, Wiper, UDA, ANC, Ford Kenya, and all our other parties. Honorable Speaker, by Gazette notice that was published on the 1st of July 2022, Honorable Speaker, this is the schedule that published all the people who are nominated to run for either president or parliamentary seats. Honorable Speaker, I'll be tabling this Gazette notice. There was only one candidate who ran for the office of President of Kenya, the Honorable Odinga Raila Karua Martha Wangari, who ran as a Azimio One, La Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party candidates with the emblem and symbols of the Azimio One Kenya political party. That party has no representation in this house. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we only need to ask ourselves if Azimio One Kenya Alliance political party is not represented in this house, and the leader of that alliance is not in this house, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, it is only natural that the coalition with the largest number of members in this house, being the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, naturally, the leader of majority and the majority party then is the leader that leads that coalition. And that is yours faithfully, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we must also ask ourselves, because I have seen it in the media, Honorable Speaker, and without even quoting, Honorable Speaker, you're also being asked to rule on issues that touch on individual and corporate political rights, because parties belong to people, they are managed by people, and they harbor people. And those people and those parties as corporate entities enjoy political rights in line with Article 38 of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, you do know that Article 36 of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker, also guarantees us certain rights that are not, that cannot be taken away, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, you must ask yourself, Honorable Speaker, and we must ask ourselves, because the contention, Honorable Speaker, relates to a few of us, especially those members who belong to UDM, who are sitting here, members who belong to MDG, like my brother David Ochieng, who is sitting here, members who belong to the Maendeleo Chap, members who belong to the Pamoja African Alliance, PA, and they're in this house, Honorable Speaker. Can you, as Speaker, because that is a question we are asking you to make a determination on, can you, as Speaker, ignore their fundamental right to the freedom to association, to be able to associate or coalesce with anybody that they want to coalesce with, as individuals and as political parties? Can that right be taken away, Honorable Speaker, by clause 22 of the Azimio Agreement? And Honorable Speaker, I will dare challenge my brothers in the Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party. I have tabled coalition agreements between parties that assented to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, I dare you, table the Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party agreements that are signed by any of these political parties. And I would dare you to table that agreement. Because it is also in contention, Honorable Speaker, as to how those agreements were procured, Honorable Speaker. We have had harrowing stories of how people were coerced under the last regime to sign blank pieces of paper with just your party name on a dotted line on one piece of paper, Honorable Speaker, not knowing what you're signing for, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know you have been a senior member of the legal profession, and I do not want to pretend to be one. But at least I did study a little bit of the law of contract as I started for my CPA with the Honorable John Mbadi, although I was slightly ahead of him. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable John Mbadi might be slightly older than me, but I was slightly ahead of him in the profession. I qualified as a CPA when I was in my first year at the University of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, I was saying in the law of contract, you know any agreement that is obtained either under duress or with the concealment of material facts, that agreement cannot stand in law. Therefore, our brothers in the One Kenya Coalition, I am sorry, and I am sorry to you, and I'm sorry to the Kenyan people, because we created this mess right on this floor. And that is why I appeal, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, to our colleagues. This issue, Honorable Speaker, we are confident that you'll be able to make a ruling on it, Honorable Speaker. But as we begin this 13th assembly, I dare say we must never get back to where we got to in the 12th Parliament, Honorable Speaker. We never consulted each other as we made a mess out of the political parties that govern and guide the growth of our democracy. This particular law, as was passed, Honorable Speaker, I said then that it will not only punish us and punish those who are vehemently supporting it, and punish you more than it would punish those who are vehemently opposing it, but it was a dangerous law for the governance of our country and the growth of our democracy, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker, that my colleagues in the Azimio One Kenya Alliance, Honorable Speaker, do know they do not have the numbers. They know. The Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, former member of Daragwa, as Secretary General of Jubilee, has written to you, Honorable Speaker, as the Secretary General of Jubilee, communicating their leadership in this House. They do know, Honorable Speaker, that the Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party does not exist in this House. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, I must commend ODM because they have been magnanimous to share positions with Jubilee and even with their brothers in Wiper. I must commend ODM as the oldest political party, because ODM is the second largest political party, and that ought to be the leader, the party in the minority, and the Honorable Pio and I ought to be the leader of minority leading the ODM brigade in this House. And the Honorable Junet can whip the ODM members.
Your time is up.
Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Wandai.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And this being my first time to speak in the 13th Parliament, Mr. Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to first and foremost congratulate you on your election as the Speaker of the 13th National Assembly. And also to congratulate my colleagues who have made it to this House this time round. Mr. Speaker, I am indeed pleased to note that you have repeatedly said since your election that you will be the Speaker of the whole House, in spite, of course, of the fact that my coalition did have a candidate against you. Mr. Speaker, I also recognize that you have got immense experience as a parliamentarian, and you are also a distinguished legal practitioner, spanning very many years. The Speaker, let me tell you that when I was growing up, I came to learn that you, as a young lawyer then, young advocate, was bold enough to come out and defend some of the victims of the 1982 coup attempt. That goes to say, really, the kind of person you are. And therefore, this House, I believe, stands to benefit immensely from your wise counsel and your very rich experience. But coming back to the issue at hand, Mr. Speaker, I want us to take note of the fact that the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya 2010 makes it at Article 3, Subarticle 1, an obligation for every single person to respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution. That responsibility, that obligation is even more so pertinent for some of us who have taken oath of office to defend that Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've been listening very keenly to my friend and compatriot, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. But let me take you to Article 259 of the Constitution. Article 259 of the Constitution requires that as we interpret the Constitution, we do so in a manner that promotes its purposes. Allow me to just take you through it. That this Constitution shall be interpreted in a manner that, among others, promotes its purposes, values, and principles, and all but also by our own standing orders. And let me take you to standing order number 2B. Yes, standing order number 2B, Mr. Speaker. And I will read for avoidance of doubt. Clerk to obtain coalition agreements. That is the title or the subtitle of that particular standing order. And members, listen carefully. It says at 2B that the clerk shall obtain from the registrar of political parties a certified copy of any coalition agreement entered into by the two or more parties in the National Assembly for purposes of ascertaining the relative majorities in the House and facilitating the transaction of the business of the House. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this particular standing order, I dare say, the acting clerk of the National Assembly, and I must commend her for her diligence, the acting clerk of the National Assembly on the 2nd of September 2022 did write to the registrar of political parties seeking this information. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, the registrar duly responded to her letter on the 9th, so on the 7th of September 2022. The registrar of political parties wrote to the clerk of the National Assembly. And I want to read excerpts of that letter. Mr. Speaker, if I could be allowed to continue.
Mr. Speaker, just I don't want to correct my former chairman of Public Accounts Committee, but before he leaves Standing Order 2B, Speaker, just like Honorable Chungwa, can he first table the Azimio agreement as provided and certified by the registrar of political parties?
Can I continue?
Yes. Give him the mic.
So, Speaker, because why am I saying so? Speaker, Standing Order 2B, as correctly read by the Honorable Opio Wandai, is very specific. It says the clerk of the National Assembly will write to the registrar of political parties, one and Deritu, asking the National Assembly to be provided with. So, Mr. Speaker, the basis of our argument is not about the letter, it's about the coalition agreement. We have seen Kenya Kwanza. Can we get the one for? Can we get the one for Azimio?
Honorable members, that is a line of argument that you can pursue, and I'll give you an opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for protecting me from my friend and senior in the House, Honorable Dwale. In the course of my submissions, I will be educating him a little bit on matters law. On matters law. Mr. Speaker, I was saying that on the 7th of September, the registrar of political parties did write back to the clerk of the National Assembly. And she said, request for information on coalition agreements. Request for information on coalition agreements. Reference is made to the above subject matter, and your letter dated 2nd September 2022, whose content is duly noted. Pursuant to Section 10 of the Political Parties Act 2011, as read together with the Regulation 21 of the Political Parties Registration Regulations 2019, and in line with your request, the constituent political parties of coalitions and effective dates are as listed below. 1. Coalition name, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party. Listen, just listen. Constituent parties, Jubilee, ODM, Wiper, KANU, NAC. You can say no, but I'm telling you what is what is here. Yes. You will continue shouting no, but that won't make a difference. KANU, NAC Kenya, Muungano Party, Maendeleo Chap Chap, Democratic Action Party, Devolution Empowerment Party, UPIA, UDM. Just continue shouting UDM. I mean, no. UPA, PA, KUP, UDP, MDG, KRP, Chama cha Uzalendo, Party for Peace and Democracy, National Liberal Party, People's Trust Party, Ubuntu People's Forum, PNU, Labour Party of Kenya, Party for Growth and Prosperity. Those are 26. Those are 26 political parties that had signed a coalition agreement under the umbrella of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party on the 21st April 2022. Of course, it goes on to list those parties under the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, which I want to read. Okay, I can read, yeah. UDA, ANC, Ford Kenya, CCK, Communist, Service Party, Tujibebe, Farmers Party, Devolution Party, EFP, Umoja, Maendeleo, that had signed an agreement with Kenya Kwanza on 3rd June 2022. There are other parties listed here. Listen carefully, members. As having signed a coalition agreement under Kenya Kwanza post-election. That is on the 5th of September 2022. These are DP, National Agenda Party, Grand Dream Development Party, Chama cha Mashinani. Then it goes on. This is important. To say that further, the following political party is not a member of any coalition. That is NOPEU. But it has since gotten into some arrangement with the Azimio, yeah. Then you may wish to note, finally, that the following political parties have filed constitutional petitions and or have filed objections with regard to their membership in Azimio. That is Maendeleo Chap Chap, UDM, and MDG. But let me say this now. Let me say this. As I say so, allow me to table this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
Members, we shall hear the Honorable Wandai in silence.
Mr. Speaker, this is a matter, and I want to go to Standing Order 19. Standing Order 19. Sorry. I need an assistant at this rate. No, United as senior member of this house can't be my assistant. Standing Order number 19A, Part 8. Okay? First and foremost, let me go to Standing Order 19A, Part 3. Part 3 says that the majority party whip shall communicate the name of the members elected, of course, as leaders of the coalition, under paragraph 1 to the Speaker in writing on behalf of the majority party. I wanted to say this because there was an argument that Honorable Jeanette didn't attach minutes of the meeting, of the PG meeting. There is no requirement under Understanding Order 19A Part 3 for that. The only time you need the minutes of a PG meeting is when you are changing the leadership of majority or minority. That is at Standing Order 19A Part 7. The Speaker, Part 8, 19A Part 8 says, upon receipt of the notification and the documents under paragraph 7, and confirmation that the threshold for removal, well, that is for removal. Okay. Oh, at 19A, Part 4, the Speaker shall, as soon as practicable, following receipt of the names under paragraph 3, convey the information to the assembled House if the House is sitting, or notify members if the House is not sitting, as he earlier on alluded. So therefore, what am I saying? That upon the convening of the 13th Parliament, and upon the determination by the clerk of the National Assembly of the status of the various coalitions from the registrar of political parties pursuant to Standing Order 2B, and upon the confirmation by the registrar of political parties to the clerk, the Speaker is simply expected, indeed required, under Standing Order 19A Part 4, to simply convey the same to the House. That is what the law and the standing orders dictate. Any other thing is mere hot air. Mr. Speaker, let me take you back to the provisions of the Political Parties Act. Because an argument, indeed, very lame argument, has been advanced before that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party is not a coalition. Let me educate you, honorable members. If you go to the Political Parties Act, and this is an act of parliament, we all know, members, that was passed in this House and subsequently amended, including the latest one of this year. If you go to interpretation in this act, unless the context otherwise requires, political party means an association of citizens with an identifiable ideology or program that is constituted for the purpose of influencing public policy, of nominating candidates to contest elections. And Part B, a political party includes a coalition political party. A political party includes what? A coalition political party. And it goes on to define what a coalition political party means, and says